Okay, let's carry on. It's part three. So, last I left off at, I was 15 years old in high school. Um, Found my dad's old CB radio, uh, hooked it up. Got a friend offered to buy me a microphone to go with to use for it, and I started talking on Channel 19 to the truck drivers. So all I really knew about it, basically from the I don't even remember it, didn't even remember all of it at the time, but the movie Smokey and the Bandit and this and that. That's kind of how I remembered knowing at least that much that they were always on 19 or whatever. So I started talking to the truck drivers. Uh, Started asking questions about that type of job, that type of work. Um, how the pay is, and this and that. Of course, some of them aren't going to be as open as others. Then I started getting the newspaper. Uh, Back when there was a newspaper. This was back in the 90s. And I started looking through the classified ads and only looking at truck driving ads and reading them and stuff like that, and trying to get familiar with with the industry, or what I could at the time. Then finding out, the age requirements and this and that, and what you could and couldn't do at this age versus that age and stuff, and just tried to really engulf myself into the whole idea. It's all I'd ever talked about. um, I started getting away from law enforcement, the idea of law enforcement and stuff like that, and working for whatever agency or whatever. I mean, that kind of just started actually by watching Cops, watching the show Cops. Uh, and because, like I said, of what I had dealt with in reality. And my mom wouldn't let me. I got my driving permit at 15, but my mom wouldn't let me actually start driving, start learning to drive till I was probably about halfway, about 16 and a half, probably 17. I think it's about 16 and a half. I think it might have been closer to 17. And she didn't want to face the fact that her babies had to grow up. None of us. And I was the first one that had to pave the way for my two younger sisters. If not for me, there wouldn't have been a lot of uh, things that they were going to be allowed to. I kind of calmed the storms down prior to them getting to that point themselves in life. Uh, After it was realized that I wasn't going to back down. I wasn't going to let anybody stop me from doing what I needed to do to become independent. My mama decided, even with my two sisters, that she tried to put up a fight, but after dealing with me, she realized how much it wasn't worth it, that we were all going to do it. And Yeah. By the time I was 16, I had I was already getting tired of school. I didn't see a point in it, probably like a lot of kids at that age. I was getting burnt out. I was getting tired of being around the other kids, being around the teachers. Teachers didn't seem to give a shit. They just seemed like they just showed up just like collect a paycheck. They didn't really care to try to teach. They were getting burnt out because the school, the administrators, their bosses weren't enforcing policies like they were supposed to, so they just started giving up themselves. And that in turn caused because the students were giving teachers such a hard time, and the teachers weren't getting any backup from higher up. We had teachers that were starting to quit left and right, putting in for the same position elsewhere. Knowing people in other schools or whatever that were helping them get on in other places. But a lot of us were tired of it, and not trying to sound bad when I say this, not trying to be racist or sexist or whatever you want to call it. Majority of our students were black. Majority of the area was black. We had whites, mostly blue collar, a lot of rednecks. We had a little bit of all kinds of different personalities, but we had a lot of blacks, and we had a lot of gang problems. There were no white gang members, not like you see now, in the inner cities and stuff. And it was male and female blacks, and we had black girls, teenage girls that were popping up pregnant to get initiated into gangs. They were dealing stuff like that trying to deal in the schools, or trying to deal outside, after school. But it caused a lot of problems, a lot of fights, and I was just getting tired of all of it, getting tired of dealing with all of it. My parents couldn't afford to put me in a private school, so one day we had this is why I'm saying that and the radio stuff, because now it'll tie together. One day we had a real bad thunderstorm that came through. This was after, let me stop right there for a second, because this is gonna also tie in this story as well. While Daddy was a service manager at that dealership, we were all the time, once a year, or right about the time school would start, get to go to these managers meetings for Pontiac down in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. We'd go there about it, we went there like 3 or 4 years straight. It became our family vacation time. We'd come back and start school like a day or two late. Had to get caught up. And one year, I think Pontiac hadn't had a very good year that year, I think is what it was. I don't remember quite. But anyway, then there was some Chevrolet managers meetings too. One of them was down in Orlando, Florida. In case you don't know where Orlando is, you'd be surprised how many people don't know their geography out here, and social media or whatever, especially on Facebook. Um, we stayed at the Grand Floridian, all expenses paid, except for there was they paid for everybody to go to Disney World and everybody to go to Epcot, and I wanted to go to Universal as well, and they got to go for free. My parents with the group, and we couldn't. I want to say MGM might have been also involved, but I don't. I think it was Universal. I don't think it was MGM. Universal was just more popular at that time because they had the Back to the Future ride and several other things I can't recall right this second. But anyway, went there and did that one year. It was pretty neat, pretty nice. Second time I've been to Disney World. First time, Daddy was able to pay for it from a bad wreck we were all involved in, which here I am missing stuff again. That was back when I was in elementary school, and I'll go over that. I might throw that in there. Um, anyway, one of those trips was I believe it was a Chevrolet managers meeting out in San Francisco, California. They were only going to pay for the manager and their spouses. They weren't going to pay for the kids. So we had to stay with friends. I stayed with I stayed with my friend. They stayed with their friends. We did that while they were gone. Well, while they were gone, there was a pivot point during this trip that changed everything for us. While out there, Daddy, mind you, Daddy had a perfect customer service record. That's why he was always able to qualify for these manager meetings. He kept a perfect customer service record at Metas. That's why he got to keep that role for as long as what he did. And Nookie Metas, which I know that's not his real name, I can't remember. I'd have to Google it. He went by Nookie Metas, and yes, for the exact reason why the word Nookie. Nookie appreciated that and respected my daddy for that, and never made him never made him do things any differently, regardless of the cost, because he kept the customers happy. He kept them coming back. Their word of mouth grew business even stronger because of my daddy. That's why he had a 4.0, which is perfect. Nookie never made politics an issue. They went to the meeting. While at the meeting, they had a dinner coming up, the group. They got a personal invitation delivered to them by a district manager for another chain of dealerships. So they went and they accepted the invitation, went and sat down with this manager and his wife at their table. They all started trying to get to know each other and everything, and having their conversations and stuff. And Daddy got up to go to the bathroom. This is what I was told by Mom and Daddy both, and both stories pretty much collaborated. And I didn't ask them both at the same time. Not that I was afraid anybody was going to lie to me. I'm going to try to speed this up. I may have to make this, I may not be able to finish all this up in this part. Anyway, Daddy went to the bathroom. A couple minutes later, the other manager, he decided to go to the bathroom too. Mama said he was gone for a while, wondering what was going on. Gone longer than, what it normally takes a guy to go to the bathroom. And come back. He come back first, I think it was, or the other manager came back first. And I think the other manager might come back first, and she asked, "Hey," she says, "Where's my husband? Where's Danny?" "Oh, he's in the bathroom. He's finishing up. He'll be out. I guess he'll be out. He's on his way. He wasn't far behind me." So, well, he went before you did. You know how things happen sometimes. So then Daddy come up to the table, sat down. "Hey, what's going on? Everything okay? Where'd you go? Everything all right?" Yeah. It's okay, like that and everything. And she could tell something was different. She just kind of let it go for the time being. Later on, when they got back to the room, Mama had asked him what's going on. He didn't really want to talk about it. She said, "What's going on? You're acting very strange. You're acting completely different. What is going on? Did he say or do something to you when y'all went to the bathroom?" He says, "No. What's going on?" And that's when he told Mama, this district manager, his name's Kerry McMillan, and he works for Long of Chattanooga. And they have a service manager's opening at one of their local car dealerships in Chattanooga. They're having some issues with the dealership because they're having some issues with the current service manager. And they're looking at trying to replace him. And I don't know what the monetary offer was. Memory serves me correctly. I know it was a large amount of money that was being offered, just for the initial offer. Not talking about the negotiations that I haven't got to that took place, I'm sure, or that did take place. But anyway, there was an initial offer, and he was asked to take it into consideration and think about it, and discuss it with Mama, discuss it with us, and everybody, they were floored. And they enjoyed the rest of the trip. They got to go to Alcatraz, visit Alcatraz. Daddy got to on the boat, the trolley, whatever, that they took to Alcatraz and back. Daddy got to meet Neil Armstrong and his wife. There was a meeting that Daddy went to. I don't know if it was wives included or not. Excuse me. I don't know if it was wives included or not. I don't quite remember. But I know Daddy was at the meeting. I don't know if Mama got to go to it or not. I think she had to meet up with him later for the dinner or whatever. But anyway, I don't know how many of you remember this gentleman, because this is about politics. Um, he met former Vice President, I believe he was, the former Vice President Michael Dukakis. I believe that was uh, former President Bill Clinton's Vice President. Pretty sure. Um, got to meet him. Uh, Dukakis gave a little speech. Had written a book. Was trying to sell the book. Uh, he gave all the managers a free copy of his book. Um, I never read it, so I don't even know how good it was. And where I stand politically, I could care less now versus what I did then. I wasn't even into politics back then, my teenage years, like I am now. But now, I just assume light it on fire. If that tells you anything about where I stand with politics, as far as that gentleman goes. Uh, or when, I don't even know if he's even. He may or may not still be alive. Um, anyway, they enjoyed their trip. This and that and the other. Um, came back home. Picked this up from where we were staying at. Um, we all come back home, and that's when Mama had told me what had happened. I'd found out at some point in time because Mama was acting funny and Daddy was acting funny, and I knew something was going on. I didn't want to make them come out with it in front of all of us. I got Mama to spill the beans with just me and her, and so Daddy finally broke down and started telling us what was going on, and we talked all about it. I was in my last year when I was in my junior year, going into my junior year, and I was starting my junior year, something like that, and a bunch of questions because he told me he would let me finish out high school before he done it. He wanted to go. He was thinking about doing it, but still wasn't all completely sure. And he was on the fence because of how we felt about it. He talked to people that he knew and respected at work, different higher ups at Metis Motors, and they were all encouraging him to do it. They said, you'll probably never get another opportunity like this ever again. If it's to move to Chattanooga, and he got offered by either Nelson Long and or Kerry McMillan. When they called him up and asked him, well, how what do you think? Have you given any more thought to it? Where do you stand with it? And he's, we don't know. My family's at odds about it. We don't know. The kids are kind of, they're at odds about it. They're not sure. They got their friends here. My son's got one more year left in high school. He's not really wanting to really make a big move like that. My wife's not really sure. This is all we've ever, this is all we've ever known. This has been our life. So I guess Kerry went back and talked to Nelson, or vice versa, and they decided to offer all expenses paid, visit to Chattanooga, put us up in a hotel, just so they could give us a little tour of the area. And then Nelson Long wanted to personally meet all of us at his office at Long of Chattanooga, Pontiac, off of Shallowford Road. Was going to spend a weekend. Was going to leave on Friday or leave on Saturday and come back Sunday. Just stay one night. So we went up there and got a little tour. Then got to meet with Mr. Long. Sat there in his office. He talked to every one of us individually. Talked to all of us as a family. Then wanted to meet and get to know each one of us. In other words, he was wanting to kiss all of our asses. I was just going to tell you because that's what it amounted to. He was being an ass kisser because he had a golden goose with the egg sitting right in front of him to bring his ratings up, to bring his sales and his revenues up. So he even talked about me because we were talking. I had my Harley Davidson hat on because I was into Harleys and stuff, and I think I had a Harley T-shirt on and everything, and a Harley belt buckle and stuff like that. And Chattanooga's fixing to get their first Harley dealership in the area. Since you like Harleys and stuff, and he's asking what else do I like and this and that, and am I gonna continue on in my daddy's steps as a mechanic and all this other kind of stuff, and there was all kinds of conversations going on and everything, and we got done with all that and came back home and everything, and I guess during that time and the phone calls prior to that, there was more salary negotiations being discussed, up in the offers. And I can't say what it was, not because I don't want to say. I don't know what it was. I never asked what the offer finally was. But he finally decided to go for it. They found him a efficiency apartment up in Hickson. Expensive as hell. Gave him a demo car to drive, company car. For those of you who don't know what a demo car is, are the ones that's got low. Usually they're the ones that have low mileage on them. They're practically new. They've probably been traded in for something else, or there's something that's just sitting on the lot. They ain't getting moved. But he didn't always have the same car all the time. But he moved up here to get things started and try to look for apartments and whatever, or places for us to move up here with. In the meantime, we were back at home trying to take care of life there. Well, during that time, Daddy got his wandering eye again. But I don't know if anything ever happened. Mama was up there one time with him, and I stayed behind. And she claims she could tell something might have been trying to work itself. But Mama, already at that time, she'd already had the experience once, so in her eyes, Diddy wasn't trustworthy regardless. If he was not around and he was, in a room with another woman, regardless if it was innocent or not, didn't matter. He was automatically guilty. Guilty as charged immediately. And I can understand that because Mama grew up having to deal with that too, with her daddy and Mama. Daddy grew up with that between his daddy and mama. My grandfather could have a wandering eye. Got caught a couple times. Anyway, during that time, this is where it's going to tie into what I was just fixing to say. We had a major thunderstorm that came through the area. Took out the antenna, CB antenna, that I was operating with. Every time Daddy come home, I'd ask him, can you help me take it down so we can fix it? Can you help me take it down so we can fix it? I even went out and got the material to fix it with. It's a JB Weld. It was an aluminum antenna. All I had to do is mix JB up with it, put it on, smear it on there, put it on there, and let it sit. And it was going to be, it wasn't going to be good. It wasn't going to be like brand new, but it was still going to be a lot better than what it was. And I could still work on making it decent. Well, I finally gave up on asking him because he would come home and all he would want to do is nothing. He'd want to get drunk. And he just want to, relax from the week. Not that you have to do both to relax, but yeah, he would, alcohol was in the mix. Well, one week when he went back up there, I took the notion. I already knew how to do it. I climbed up on the roof. I'd been up on the roof with him many times. Climbed up on the roof, took the antenna down by myself, and then decided, instead of climbing back down on the ladder, I was going to see if I could land on my feet by jumping off the roof. Now, for 32 minutes, kids just got home. I'm going to leave it right there. To be continued, and I'm going to leave you in anticipation like what happened. See you later. We'll continue from there.